But he's like so happy.
I'm gonna try this one more
so happy to
time.
be lying there just waiting. He's like rubbing his belly. He's like poking his belly button. He's like drinking from his beer hat still. And then,
So I am logged into
but it's like
the
when you're
Thumper
the
Discord
first two rows of the
on the
show,
general voice chat.
and there's like the splash.
I've got
is
it
incredible.
push to talk,
And
and
all
it's
just, like,
not
meaty chunks, and little brown bits of
streaming
stuff.
to the live stream. So I'm gonna be working on something. I'm also watching Hyper RPG right now on TV. I can also put the my own channel's chat.
Well, shoot.
Sweet. So I probably won't have my stream chat available, accessible all the time, but it's here in front of me. What's up?
There it is. Leaning in for a sip.
So I started this the other day, and I actually had the idea for this a long time ago.
We have a tendency.
Time for a good old rock, paper, scissors battle in between something cute and the stakes are ice cat advantage to the winner and pass cat disadvantage to the loser.
I also think that I'm going to cut this.
Pass cat just makes Jessica and G and eliminators. Time for censoring.
Oh my god. Okay. One.
Actually, it looks like my chat room is going to stay open on my phone, so I'll be able to see what's going on my actual stream chat. So I'm watching Hyper RPG. I'm not on the Hyper chat.
Alright, fine. 1, 2, 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3, use a bitch. Alright. I still have 2 disadvantages to deal with. Hello.
You have 4 disadvantages because they kept forgetting to
Okay. Okie dokie.
I'm surprised.
Holy fuck. I don't know. I hope you can muster the courage.
So they get to the riverboat. The world's pirate boat. I'm going to the riverboat. And you see the fish with the roach.
The bitch with the brooch.
With the roach. I'm gonna kill Cucumber and Chuck right now. And Chuck turns to the guy and says, "You know what, gentleman? You deserve to die. You know that." And I my entire way to the website, and I'm going to tell right now, Cucumber's
No. No.
why I'm being so mean to you. And Cucumber and I will have to weird things to do. Like, oh! First of all, I came to find. I just like how immediately babies happen.
What just happened, Chuck?
I had another roguelike, and Cucumber more time gave a lot of time.
There really was.
I did do high energy. I didn't say it. I got to knock it out. It was great.
I'm sorry.
I feel like you used to call them Venus to like fire away onto the riverboat.
It's a fiction. It's a fiction. You still lost.
Yeah, one. You might be embarrassed.
Oh wait, yeah, you're for a weapon, Ryan.
Another minute for Jessica's hashtag otherwise hashtag GMQ.
Did you read the caveat?
Caveat.
Iffy, you've met him.
Wait, what happened with the caveat?
But that is not true.
Oh well then. So all of my children. All of my children grow up very quickly. They go to great colleges and they all earn degrees in medicine. They mail all of us some brand new health potions.
Master Craze, I did not set it as a template layer, I don't think. But I did put it over top with a multiply. Here, let me show you what I mean. So the image that I'm working from is on my refs layer for references, and that is not an actual template, but I just took that, everything that's on that layer, here, I'll show you what I mean. I took everything that's on that layer and set the transparency to multiply at 70%, which for me is good enough for right now. And I'm going to relock that. I lock the layer so that I don't actually mess with stuff on it. And then I'm working underneath, actually, on what is called layer 10, which is just my main content layer. Oh, and to show off what it is I'm working on, I don't even remember when I downloaded this image. But, here, let me turn this off. I downloaded this image, I don't know, years ago, as a reference, an inspiration for a design of my own, and that's what I'm working on right now. I'm going to mirror it up, and I'm just working at it slowly, one step at a time. I kind of have my own process, but I am working on it in a similar way to what you would normally do. So I hope that answers your question, Master Craze. Master Kraz, Craze, Kraz Craze, Crazy Kraz.
Yeah, you like the bad man, Bill.
I'm also working on. I'm working with smart guides. It's not absolutely necessary, but it makes me enjoy the process a little more. And then I'm going to cut it here too. Okay, I thought that they were all. Oh, I might have had to reset all of these. No, it still has a point there somewhere. Ah, it was just graphics on my page. Wasn't really there. It's all a trick. Alright, so now I've got that. This.
Cucumber one, movie fights.
Oh, okay, I gotta move that again, which isn't really a problem.
No? Yeah.
Okay.
Should stop drinking now.
I'm wondering if I have snapped pixel grid set. No, I don't. Okay. Because it moved things that I didn't actually touch it. I mean, I moved it around by. I'm not sure how I feel about that. That's alright. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Am I?
Okay.
I had the whip. I didn't have the ray-gun. No.
Okay. Now it looks like we're good. And then when I mirror these, I'll make sure that the curves line up. Looking pretty good. I mean, in general, as I'm looking at them, they look like they work. But why? Okay, this is weird. So I must be grabbing this whole thing and moving it every time I've done that. Let's see.
You know what? For strength, -1.
Huh.
In what?
Okay.
+3. No,
Okay.
plus 3, yeah.
Alright, let's see. Maybe this without messing these up. Looks good. we're going to do this one more time. Hopefully, it'll actually do what I want it to do. Okay, now I'm clicking on a dot. Okay. Okay. It looks like we've got the intersections we need. Okay. So, I'm going to take this. I'm going to take that, and I'm going to completely flip it to the other side. And that's a simple enough process to get it on there, and then now that it's on there, yeah, okay, good. Now I can focus on how those curves look, which this one down here at the bottom looks great. Okay, so the show perception check just got done, and if things work like they've been working for the last week, we will see. I will be watching Hyper RPG. I'm actually making a copy. Oh, that one I have to do differently. All right. Let's see. Make sure I do this right.
Oh man, this is great.
Given how cold it is outside, in a way, this is the perfect place to remaneuver 2-minute code.
And that looks like it's going to work too. So.
Now, it pushes the face onto yours as it just. And you start to feel this pain as you see this golden black energy pulsing out of her face up to his arm. As you feel this, you see this like red heat and this burn and steam coming off of her face. And when she lifts her head up, she's got this scar charred remain, but now her face is once again filling out that dream. And she yells, and like this. Shut up! You don't get me the right thing. And your fucking tiger dies, but you're alive to see it play out.
How bizarre. That was weird. Okay,
I was running from 6 feet. Yeah, I'm ready for that Tuesday.
part of me wants to make it purposefully asymmetrical, but maybe only on the interior though, because I feel like the exterior shape is really good for the purpose that I want it for, which is like outline decoration on a publication. But I could make the interior design asymmetrical without messing that up too much. Yeah, because that curve there looks really good. So I feel like it's not a good idea to mess with that. Maybe this could be.
Thank you so much, Mike.
You jump, and as you jump, you notice he totally tracks where you're jumping. You can actually watch the.
Oh man, part of me wants to just get rid of that
And it hits right
point
on
right
your
there.
mustache. It blows up, but your face takes a little damage. You take
But you know what? Let's do it.
Don't stop! Son of a bitch!
Savage Punch! Thank you so much for the $50 donation. $4!
Okay, I think that this is working. I think that everything I've done so far has prepped me for a successful outcome. Yeah, because if I were to change this up and make those portions asymmetrical to one another, it could look kind of cool. The problem is I want this to look like a nice traditional design, and that means simplistic elements that are ornately detailed. And so simple is good for this.
Your job.
You mean, we call them young women?
Anyway, it says,
I told you this ride wasn't welcome.
I love Hyper RPG so much. God, I want to work with you guys again. God, I want to work with you again.
Feel that this on your face, folks. Don't worry, that's just the poisonous bacteria that'll eat you all alive. Just kidding, that's just a release. I want everyone to roll perception.
Yeah, I think that needs to be. And in fact, I'm just going to straighten that out so that I can be certain of where that curve is.
He's the Wookiee of the house.
Sergeant Anderson, that is my name.
I mean,
Do you have a supervisor?
no. I mean,
And you run by an evil guy?
Yeah, we got bigger problems too. We got bigger problems to fry.
Where's the pineapple ice cream stand? I don't work here. I just heard of the ocean station.
Oh, he's the man.
I don't know what just happened.
Well, that's the stand for, man. What the hell?
Did you guys see his spider?
Oh my God! You're horticulture. You shouldn't hear anything. Fire.
Nobody clips that. Just let it go. Let it be. Nothing's to be remembered.
Oh boy.
I switched to the full screen.
Oh yeah.
And the second thing I'd like to do is guess the hidden agenda, and that it was to order a. Well, that's how the game works. When you try and say that you completed your agenda, and you didn't. So that's what your agenda was. You just needs to be nothing. John has no power in this situation.
And you're wrong.
Legally distinct.
Oh, also for the record, I'm probably not the best vector artist in the world. And when I say probably, I mean definitely. Because I have to guess a lot of things that a lot of other artists would just know
Of course.
what the answer is. But this is fun. I'm inspired. Malika and Zach over at Hyper RPG have spent their honeymoon in Thailand. And when she pointed out the Naga architecture the other day, I was like, you know what? It's time to come back to that unfinished project that was actually kind of a cool idea.
I recommend you give it back. It's company property.
And so here we are, working on vector artwork.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure there's some people that know exactly how many points to put on a curved line and how to angle them and how to make it look all flourishy and perfect. And I should probably be one of those people. But what I am and what I should be are not always the same. Luckily, vector art makes it look good regardless of how good you are, so that's the beauty there.
Megarings. Fish megarings.
Yeah, and you can see it when I was dropping down my original points. I was not doing a very good job with my vector, my vertices. I was definitely not placing them in good locations. I was just putting them down just to make sure that they were there. And because this is a symmetrical design, you kind of have to think about like what the flow, the movement of those curved lines should be as a vector recreation of what is essentially a traditional artwork style. And when you go for a traditional style, you want to recreate the feel of that style as much as the actual appearance. Also, okay, so it looks like that point is directly on that line, which is what we want. It's what I want. And this is a connecting curve. Also, it won't hurt to use the shift key to make these curves work out fast. Also, this is another spot where I will probably cut this and throw the curved line to the other side to make sure that it actually looks good. Because sometimes you can think that it looks good, but it really doesn't. And then when you see it reflected, that's when you get the real appearance.
Just stand up. It's on 2 feet deep. You do. He's still hanging out.
Yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. It's like on one side it looks totally different than what it does on the other side, for the simple fact that the reference that I'm working from is not exactly symmetrical. And once you throw that curved line across to the other side, your eye sees it differently. And okay. I feel like I've got the majority of my curved lines. There's a part of me that does want to do more, like I kind of want to throw a curved line across. But like I said, it's a traditional design and I don't want it to get too complex, because that is my number one problem, is that I get too complicated with things. And most people know that simple is better when it comes to design like this. Okay, so also because I've got two lines here that I need proportioned, I'm going to group those, then I'm going to throw it across the line. Reflect it, grab my line, my center line, do that, and then I'm going to ungroup those and ungroup those, because I don't want them grouped long term. I just want them placed. I'm also going to turn off that reference layer just to see what it looks like without it, and if I enjoy that. Yeah, actually, because I've already made it just a little more complicated anyways. Oh man, there's a big part of me that just wants to add just a little bit right here and right here. Like, I kind of want like an S-curve connecting these, or... Yeah, no, I definitely want it up here. I don't want it up here. I want that open space to balance itself. But I kind of want a little bit of separation right here, and another one right here. There's another aspect to that too, which is that those little flourishy elements around the edge will also be there. But I feel like they're probably not going to fill up that whole space. Uh-oh. I might have some connectivity issues. Maybe not. I'm also going to save, because I don't save often enough. Oh, excuse me. All right. Yeah, there's a balance consideration that it's just really tough to add without getting too much. Because you kind of want that empty space in between, but you want it to also be balanced in and of itself. So like this zone right here should generally balance out to the other zones over here. Also, I'm going to do like a full detail work on those Naga heads. So a Naga is a fantasy creature. Not quite a serpent, not quite a dragon, a little bit of both. Naga are usually referred to as serpents. But depending on the culture, sometimes they get a little bit crossover, a little bit of crossover with dragons as well, because they look very similar. And for those who might not know, it could be difficult to figure out if it's a Naga or a dragon or something. But Naga does mean serpent, so technically it is more snake than dragon. Technically. I'm also, when I do this final design, I'm going to take this piece up here, and rather than it being a perfect circle like this one, also I need to take my meds. So if I jump off stream for a second, it's because I have to take my meds. I cannot forget. Don't let me forget. Excuse me. But for the next part, I'm going to expand those lines. I just want to make sure that all the curves look really good on their own first. I feel like the only one that bothers me a little bit is this one. But that's not going to be an actual... It's not going to be exactly the same design as the other. That portion is going to be a little bit more embellished because I'm going to do the details of the Naga. I feel like the rest of those curves are pretty decent though. They don't look terribly lumpy or too weird. And the spots where they are just a little bit weird, it's because there's going to be like ornamentation right there. Like this zone over here is kind of a little bit wonky, but it's because those shapes are going to change at that spot. So, but otherwise, I think those are pretty decent. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about those Naga head spots. I'm gonna expand the appearance of all of these lines except for the center line. Expand the appearance. Expand the offset stroke is what I mean. So deselect the center line, grab all the other ones, path, offset path. Ironically, that is like almost exactly perfect.
I got new cars. I got old cars.
New cars you want. No down payment. Money. I'm giving them away. It's crazy. Crazy cars.
I will eat this fly.
go with 1/8 of an inch.
Bring the foghorn to be seen.
I think miter limit deals with things that aren't going to matter here. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to zoom in and do a quick check to see, like, how do I feel about that. Also, I might have to cut all these apart because I actually need the intersections. So how do I want to do that? I want to but that sizing looks pretty good. That sizing looks almost exactly like what I need. And I may go with a pointed instead of a curved because with a miter instead of round. Okay, let's think this through. Anywhere that we have okay, press C to grab the cut tool.
You see Nimmy the gnome with his head off?
I'm just going to do it the way that makes the most sense to me, because I can't be sure of how it's going to play out once I do that offset stroke, but if I do it the way I know works, then I'm going to be okay. That one's fine because all of those are... Wait, let me think that through. Nope, that's not true. Okay. So this is also going to be one of those spots where I might have to play it by ear. No, you know... Actually, that should work out. That should be alright. And even though this makes the curved lines a little more complex, and it means that I can't do a lot of changes after this step, I'm okay with that because I've got the lines that I need. I think. Yep, I think this should work fine. This one needs to... And I don't have to cut it this way. I'm actually adding more cuts than is necessary. Which means that the lines are a little more complex than is necessary. But I'm a little more confident about how those lines will end up once I do the offset stroke. So let's do that now. I think that should work. We know that that's good, but you know what? Let's do...
Emily needs some hashtag advantage to grow. No more of this. For business.
Okay.
I now realize I have a situation where there are some that I want rounded and there are some that I want mitered. Okay. Cancel.
Oh no, I just meant like in general, something is a very high roll. No. Oh, I love.
Wow, I've got a situation where I actually need both, sometimes on the same line. Okay.
Just send me the parsnip.
Wow, okay, I need both. Let me think this through. I'm going to save and I'm going to think this through. So, for those spots that have points on the curved lines. Oh, wow.
Alright, I would like to use Mjolnir here to do a chain lightning attack. And since they're made of wood, my hope is to catch them on fire.
I'm going to do something kind of funny. Something that I'm probably going to regret later.
Yep, so both of the marionettes and descend.
If I offset path with the curve,
So the two
if I use that other line and add it in, I think this will work. I think this will work. Alright, I'm going to do a path, offset path, round, 1.125, preview, oh, well, that's fine. I can just get rid of the one that's on the center line. That's fine. Make sure that's what I want. That looks pretty good. I'll do that. Get rid of this one because it was an oops. Alright, now those are curved lines, which will help for all of those spots where there's intersection kind of stuff going on. But I also need this, 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 and this. Oh, I only cut one side apart.
That was crazy scared me. I thought there was a weird liquid ghost.
So, okay. I see what I did. I see what happened.
Yes? A what? Is that called a tree lightning pattern when you left it?
these will, so because I'm doing this, these will also be not exactly symmetrical, but like I said before, that's not a huge problem. This design is complex enough that most of those issues are not going to be issues at all. Okay, so it looks like all right, here we go. All right, and the reason that hang on, right, before I keep talking. Okay, so I did that clip above. Yep, I did the clip like over here. Okay, and what I mean clip, C, I pressed the C for the scissors tool, right? Yeah, scissors tool, cut, or for me I say clip. And yeah, it looks like I clipped it over here. So I want to do that. I also need to do the same thing to this line. And that's going to be here and here. The reason for that is because those lines are going to crisscross. And clip it here. And
we'll talk about it later.
Here. Looks good. Okay, and I think that's what we needed to do. So that, 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 and that.
Garbage and garbage for eels.
Okay, so now if I offset preview to make sure that we got sort of what we want. Looks decent to me. Okay. Now, like I said, at this point we now have a design that's not actually symmetrical. It's not an exact, precise mirror. But that's also not a problem, because this is also the spot where we start putting things over top of one another, and the whole reason I wanted those so that I can get those crisscrosses looking really decent. The other thing is it allows me to do stuff like where I can take this stuff and put something in the background and something in the foreground. And it looks like I've got a good setup for that now. So the other thing I want to do is take these lines that have what do we call those? I'll call it an inlet, that are like a scalloped kind of look, and the inside I want to be pointy. So I'm going to do another offset path. Here's what I'm going to do. Another offset path. I'm going to do miter instead of rounded. And that looks pretty decent. And then I'm going to take those lines that I just created, which are the same lines and they're like sitting on top of the other one. And I'm going to recolor them so that I know that they're different. Okay, and this is another good reason for this, is because when you do that miter shape, sometimes on the very ends of a path that curves very quickly, very acutely, but you give it a wide offset path and you miter it, it tries to cut into its own lines. And so some of these will end up getting included. That point on the inside will get included, but the other parts I'm going to dismiss it entirely and just use the other lines to create those shapes. I can also throw those to the back.
This here is the wildest ride in the wilderness. As I race towards
Yeah, I can throw those to the very back on that layer. That way it won't get in the way. The points are still visible, and I can always clip those and grab them for use later. All right. I'm gonna throw my reference back in. And this is why I wanted to focus on those things right now, early on, because once I start doing that, it gets really complicated on this. But I know what I want and what I'm looking for. Because I downloaded that image, that reference image, like years ago, and it's been playing in my head for a while, even though I never messed with it. I like looked at it, was really considering how do you want to take that design, how do you want to break that down so that you can recreate it in vector. And even though it's pretty complicated looking, you know, with the overlay, generally speaking, I know what I'm looking at. And a lot of this I'll just use a Pathfinder tool to bring it all together and create the final design. I could do some of that right now, but it's not necessary. And yeah, I'm gonna come back to that later. And for right now, I feel like this is okay. It works. It's not terrible, and it looks, especially with those points on the inside, it actually looks really decent like that. So I feel like this is a good design in general. So that was what I was looking at right now. It's just like, okay, how do you actually feel about this? So those are the same spots where, oh no, actually it's like here. Some of these lines I'm going to offset the stroke one more time to the same distance so that I've got like a very far outline zone where some of those embellishments that raise up from the main body of it, like over here where there's a little bit extra on the outside, I'm going to have my offset path the same as the first one to give me like a very, very, very far edge border. And it's really only necessary on like spots like here where it's specific to the design. It's not necessary for every single one of them. So, for example, that one and that one. In fact, you can see this. There's a curly thing here. Oh, I might actually have to not choose that one. Oh, you know what? Actually, that should be okay, because both of them are going to be offset paths, so I'll have two.
You're right.
That'll work. That'll work.
was my theory, ladies and going on with the clips. The eels, the eels! I'd like to roll the eels for a moment, and I'd like to take the hammer, and if it has all the properties of mule meat, I'd like to fire with it and go straight for Peninsula's button. Oh, it didn't work. Will you actually hit it? Alright, in that case, I would like to go into her mouth and all the way through to the back end until she explodes. Let's do it, the hive.
Huh. This one has a weird thing that I wasn't expecting. Because it shouldn't really look like that, but that's very weird. It's not going to be a problem because it overlaps really well with this, so I'm not freaked out about it, but I wasn't expecting it. It's okay, it's fine, everything's fine. Alright. As you can see, I deselected things. I didn't actually want to do that, but it's fine. Okay.
That is the first thing you said, right? Yes, I do.
Yeah, that is really weird. I might have to do some editing on that geometry.
Yes. Which is located yeah. You're close.
You know what? We're gonna fix this right now. We're gonna make sure that
Yeah.
this is very strange. I don't know why it would have done that. It's not going to be exactly what I want, and if all else fails, I could maybe mirror that. Very strange. That's a weird glitch right there. Because you can tell that I used the round on that, but it gave me a miter. That's very strange. It's very, very, very strange. That's all right. I think I can work with it. I think it'll be okay. Yeah, it should be okay. I think I'll be all right.
Continue. worry, that one's just a spark starting up. I can do that if you want.
Yeah, so this is going to be a little weird. It's going to come out just a little bit strange, but it's just a guide. Yeah, it's just a guide to make sure that any elements that I throw down that fall outside of those lines end up being bound by, you know, some form of boundary line. Very bizarre.
The nagas tried guessing. He's looking for so magical here.
He's looking for this.
I'm also, because this line is just a guide and not a center line, I'm going to drop the stroke down on this. And I'm also going to change its color. And I'm going to throw it to the very back. And then to check what I've got going on, I'm going to get rid of my reference layer. Yeah, this is what I wanted right here. It gives me guidelines of how far I can go outside of those lines.
The whole thing? The whole fucking vibe process?
And looking at that, it tells me that some of these elements are really actually very well balanced out, because they're the same distance away from some elements as the other elements. So that's actually really good. Yeah, this is good. All right. And in case I didn't say anything about it so far, I do hope to use this as a design element in an adventure that I previously had something called Different, and I thought about returning to it because it's a Pathfinder adventure, and Pathfinder is now going to be in a new edition, and this one is sort of not a memorial, but anyways, the big point is I'm actually going and looking at like real traditional artwork for this to make sure that it looks decent. And the adventure, and this is my old school text over here. This one is my old school, and this is the logo I'm working with so far. Because I'm going to rename the adventure that I already had up. There's a reason for that. I'm not going to go into that right now, but I'm going to rename that adventure, and I'm going to go with Legacy of the Sky Pantheon. And a big part of it is going to be a country ruled by nagas, which is the Paizo campaign setting world of the continent of Tianxia, and the country is called Nagajor. Nagajor is ruled by nagas, and it's a Eastern styled Asia, and especially Eastern Asia, Southeast Asia. You really had to choose like a zone. Southern, because it does include just a little bit of India, a little bit. Okay, so I need a drink of coffee. So far, I don't hear anybody else jumping into the Discord, which is fine. It's not a problem. I have to do push to chat, push to talk chat for that anyways. So these are my nagas. So this is the reference image collection that I just put together right before the stream. I just threw a bunch of them into Photoshop, merged them all into one big picture. Yeah, and I'm going to use that to inspire me to, you know, for what the intricate parts of this design look like. And hopefully, like I said, I'm going to try and keep it simple. I'm going to try and not make it overly complicated, especially because even though I'm looking at it this close up, in the final output graphic is going to be used, hopefully scaled really, really small. And so a lot of these elements you might not even see if they're not big enough. So that's why I'm going to try and just stay simple on it as much as possible. Okay.
Whatever, I like the song. I'll take it. I only had one normal roll. Cucumber. He's the best. Cucumber.
I'm also going to do what I did to these pointy ones, because I'm now realizing that I should have done it on those ones as well. And it's not really a big deal. Okay, we're going to do eye for the eyedropper. Oh yeah. When you've got something on your top layer, and you eyedropper, you have a tendency to grab just that color of whatever was below your, and that's not what we want. Okay, and that is exactly what I wanted right there. Now, it's not exactly balanced in that way, but it's also not a problem because some of those elements right there are like layered on top of one another, so a lot of those won't even show up.
That's right, we still have each, we're both sharing a hand on the hilt right now. His fingers are lightly brushing mine. Our eyes are locked.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty decent.
Wouldn't you know it? The hilt of Mjolnir is ripped. I shit you not. It's actually true.
So if there's anyone who's watching who wants to know what's going on, feel free to ask me questions. That was Discord. I'm on the Hyper RPG Discord. I am logged into the voice chat. Anybody who joins that chat's not going to come out on the stream because I didn't set that kind of thing up. Inception. Okay. I am going to take a short break. Go to the Dino Island. Like that. I'm going to take a short break. And we will come back.
Anytime I see that.
I'm also going to, I'm back. Give me just a second to, Dino Island. I'm back. Also, in case anyone was worried, I took my meds. We're good. Everything's good. All right. So I'm gonna unplug my headphones and it's fine. It's fine. Nobody yet has joined me, and that's okay. It's not a big problem. Not a problem. Alright, so here's where things are gonna get kind of fancy. This is where things will get fancy. Okay. Okay, and so, in case anyone was wondering, I am now using a tablet, drawing tablet, in order to draw out some of these details. And then I will go back through and edit these curves to be, you know, aesthetically pleasing. So I just want to make sure that as I'm doing this, that I've got some gunk. I've got some gunk on my drawing tablet. Oh no. Give me a second. I didn't realize my tablet had gunk on it. Sorry. Sorry for Shaky. Yeah, this had some serious gunk on it. That was what was making the the pen jump. I'm just cleaning it like I clean my glasses, like breathing on it to give it a little bit of moisture to help get some of that gunk off. It looks like it worked. So breathing on just gives a little bit of moisture because it was some. I've had my drawing tablet sitting for so long that it had gunk, like real gunk, like gunk that makes your pen hop over.
Right underneath the great big bowler hat. You fucker! Another one! I was really hurting. I'll never get one lesson. I need some help.
Yes.
Go down there, go. Go down there, go. You don't mind. You don't mind.
Just in case anyone is wondering, yes, I know this looks terrible. I'm trying a few different shapes to see what I like best. Okay.
Okay, well, thank you so much for watching Perception Check, everybody. On Hyper RPG, all of your donations go right back into the station's channel development. We're gonna do a song, we gotta do a song. And goodbye. No. Goodbye.
Yeah, sure. You can follow me on Twitter and on Facebook, Frankly_Emily, or Instagram, Frankly_underscore. I'm gonna be at E3 starting tomorrow, so live streaming and plugging me up with so it's super fun. Yay, video game.
You can also check us out on rollforhotness.com.
Yeah.
These guys.
And a friend of
Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you for everything.
Yeah.
Thanks for your patience.
Sweet. Okay, so that was the end of Perception Check. Now, hopefully, it will be Zach and Malika on their honeymoon, which has been pretty freaking phenomenal so far. The seeing Malika showing off the Naga part of the temples and stuff, it was like, that's what got me thinking about this, which is an old project that I should have done a lot more with it a long time ago, but things happen how they happen. That's how I'm justifying that. Okay. I feel like okay, and then any of these elements that I create are actually going to go on top. So I'm actually pulling them all the way up to the top. I also feel like that point right there is just way too much. And the strokes themselves do not have to be pointy. Cool. All right, so it says that IRL stream is coming. So, incoming. So, yeah, that should, hopefully that'll be on soon, and that'll be fun. I've really enjoyed it so far. The other night, they, yesterday, they went to an elephant sanctuary, and they actually ended up adopting an elephant themselves, the two of them, Matt and Zach and Malika, and ended up adopting one for the chat too, which is awesome because most of us are like, we just love critters. Okay, so in my own design, what you'll see is on this side, this flourishy, flower-like, plant-like design here doesn't go out very far, but over on this side it actually extends beyond my border. First and foremost, I'm just going to leave it for right now because all I really need it to do is to place hold, and I can always edit the final shape in the final design. I do like this look of sort of trailing off, you know, like a bit that just kind of hangs out there a little bit. But these are small elements, so it's very difficult for me, but it's good to try and keep in mind that this is only so big. It's not supposed to be a lot of detail. And if all else fails, I can flip the outline stroke to be the color of the thing and just kind of look at it like that. I feel happy with that. I'm also not going to be really worried about it very much at this point. And I might even make it a little bit asymmetrical in the end. Well, so even the idea of taking those overlapping crossing lines, even the idea of one of them is on top and one of them is being cut by that, is enough to give it a little bit of asymmetry, just that by itself. But then overall it will be mostly symmetrical. You'll also see that some of these elements do fall way outside of my boundary line, and basically I'll make all of those decisions very last. Like after I've got all the lines down and all the details are hashed out, I will then look at it, you know, on its own without the reference image and just decide, you know, how much do I want that to stand out and how much is it too much. And I won't really know that until I'm able to see it by itself from the outside, so to speak, but in a way that I don't know how I'm trying to say this, so I'm just going to let it go. So there's a couple of things happening as we reach this spot here, this intersection. One of those is the line here starts to take on the appearance of the belly of the Naga, which is like that ribbed serpent look. You know how a snake looks on their underside, just like bands. So it's supposed to be a design, a stylized version of that. And there's two parts to that, and that is there's going to be the underlying shape, and then I'm going to put over top of that another set of line that follows the banding, and it's only going to go up to here, because at this spot, this is where we're going to start adding in sort of like this, where it's like an overlaid shape, an object shape, and it will then connect to the body of this creature. So, first things first, we don't need this entire thing to do that. So, okay, so I'm going to same thing as before. I'm just going to Alt move it, which means it's made it a copy. I'm going to, instead of cutting, I'm going to use the knife tool. I'm going to cut it right here and right here. And then I'm going to deselect this section, and I'm going to delete the other ones. All right. Now, with this one, first things first, I'm going to give it the style of the other line that I was working with. I'm also going to move it up to the very top. Okay. So, this is an element that's going to be on top. And it looks like it's going to be covered over by that the other crisscrossing line. So this is actually a pretty good spot right here. It's just to leave it exactly where it is on this side, on this edge over here. But then in order to create those bands, the sort of the belly bands, the underlying ribs, I'm going to use my pen along with my actual drawing tool, or drawing tablet. So let's do. Okay, so that definitely didn't do what I wanted it to do. That did what I wanted it to do. All right, so basically that was just creating that first curve. It's going to be just a little bit. I'm not going to follow that exact black outline right there. I'm just going to go with that, and I'm going to aim for a specific look, as opposed to following this exact design, because I know what I'm going for. I know that this is going to be a very, I'm zoomed in so far compared to what the final design will actually be sized at when it's used in a publication. And that's going to be so much smaller that here we go. Hyper RPG is resetting their stuff right now. It's going to be so much smaller than this scale that some of these things you might not even see. It might not even be visible. So some of these things I might not even really have to worry about very much. So I don't actually really need to do that at all. I can just go straight down. Also, I think I want to do one more bump, and then like I said, I'm going for a specific kind of look as opposed to following the exact shape. I can't tell if they actually got it back up and if I need to reset. Yeah, it's so hard to tell with this exactly what it's going to look like because it's going to be so much smaller than what we're looking at here. Okay, I'm gonna reset the Twitch on my TV here in a second. And this is also a spot where some of my design rules are going to go kind of out the window pretty quickly. Because this is a spot that kind of breaks those rules. And it's not really a problem. It might not look even, but like I said, it needs to accomplish a job, as opposed to be exactly like its parent design. In this case, I think it's going to be so small that a lot of these things are going to not be visible. But I'm hoping if maybe I can accentuate a couple of things like these, how the curves overlay, so that if I can make them a little more obvious, that maybe they'll serve an actual design purpose and not just copy the line that's there. Because that's the other thing. I mean, it's not supposed to be the exact replica. It's supposed to be a design. A design. It doesn't have to be photo perfect, photorealistic, so to speak. It just needs to be a good design. Okay, just for kicks, to see what it looks like with the same style as the other. I'm happy with that. I'm gonna say that's pretty darn good. And this is just for a starting basic shape, just to have a shape down, and then I can always come back in later when those shapes are down there, and I can look at the balance of the whole thing, and judge if it looks good based on that. All right, so I'm going to save. I'm going to try refreshing my and of course we jumped over wow, that's the chair I'm in. if it does it again.
You know what's weird, Monica? I just
No, didn't do that.
noticed it, which means I haven't seen it much at all so far. All the trash on the side of the hill here.
Also going to sign out of this, disconnect from.
Especially like temples. I was surprised like get out of the car and see all that trash down there. Most of these temples have been so clean.
Okay. So, in case anybody's wondering what's going on right now, I am doing some vector artwork, watching Hyper RPG as they stream live from Thailand.
If you're okay with the shorts too, I know we were supposed to have you changing one for these. Think we okay? Those frogs, crickets. Wow, it's intense. Very intense. So the other temple, Doi Sutta, we're going to that one tomorrow because they're worried about all the rain we've been having, right?
It's slippery to go up that high.
Because it's really hot.
It's really high. Like
I don't know if we'll have
above,
signal there.
above the weather. You know what I mean? Like
Right, top of the mountain. By the way, it's hotter up here than down below, which I'm surprised. It's really cooler up here. Alright, so, on the agenda for today, we are going to visit some temples, and Malika and I found out an interesting fact yesterday, that unlike Bangkok, Chiang Mai has more cafes than 7-Elevens. Believe it or not, more cafes than 7-Elevens. So, for every $30 tip today to help us get to our goal, we're going to go to a new cafe. Some of them are ones that our coffee experts suggested to us, and others will just go. Because apparently there's cafes everywhere. Wow. There's some new snacks we haven't seen before. Right, so this is a different style architecture than what we saw in Bangkok. So our goal for today, wait to 500 during our streaming time. Tonight, Malik and I will go get traditional Thai photos. Oh wow, it's like rising up over the hill. That's crazy looking from here. Which the Naga is a big part of our lore up here. We might have to explain Naga in the lore. It's hard to miss. Wow. They're kind of like 80s flavor trucks, but in traditional Thai attire. We saw one of those photo places last night, the night bazaar, and that's what we'll do if we hit our goal. White tourists here. We're seeing a lot more Chinese tourists at this location. So, today we are with Malika's family for some of her family from Florida actually just came out, and they'll be with us for a little bit today. And then I think we're going to go downtown and talk to our tattoo parlor about getting a blue tattoo. And they have a lot of stuff that we do on that. We do a lot of research. Tomorrow morning, for us, 6 p.m. EP, you all, we're going to take a tour of the Daughter Debbie. some more of the yellow paint. I know.
Whoa. Okay, so the thing that I am drawing right now, these nagas, are actually on Hyper RPG right now. Big fucking gold nagas at the foot of a big temple. I mean, it is literally what I'm doing right now. That's awesome. Love it. That's one of the reasons I've been so excited about Hyper RPGs. They do some amazing stuff. And now they're in Thailand looking at some of the stuff that's inspired me from like years ago. So it just really, it got me back, thinking back on track again. Like, okay, love this artwork. Why not return to it? So we're returning to the artwork.
Do you want to tell me about the jasmine? It's money.
If you come here and pray for something,
All the jasmines for people who God was commemorating for and brought it back. I was born on a Saturday. I will keep walking around. Oh, wow.
Yeah, if there's anybody who's watching me and not Hyper RPG right now, you are losing out. I mean, I'm streaming because I want to share this, but I'm doing it because I was inspired by that. This is why.
Look at the heart. On a ring out there. Welcome to sharing my time.
Excuse me.
Steps. I want to see you can walk all the way from the bottom. But this isn't the one to your parents. This is different.
This is short. Five right now, they're focused on race.
So what can you
Because
tomorrow?
it's not a straight product, it's like curvy and they're like, it's like broken up.
Yeah.
It's not a good.
So we'll take a chance tomorrow.
No, they recommend you stop training. They hire somebody who's used to taking people.
What are the chances of that happening? It's raining the whole time we've been here. But it's important to you. You chance it. Let's talk about it since.
Nope.
The rain covering without having your head. Beautiful. Oh, of course. I will just walk around. Down there. Another temple over there. Can't remember if we saw it in the line. There's the other. Trees around.
We're back in Thailand.
Are those stairs or is that a giant slide?
That is.
I'm assuming they're stairs, but part of me is really hoping for giant slide.
I really don't know for sure. Probably stairs. Unfortunately, Buddhist temples are not known for their slides. Probably stairs. It is just way cool, though.
I can't imagine how. Well, I guess I can imagine that this is basically like Michigan weather. It's probably 90 degrees, 100% humidity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only instead of construction and sadness, you have lush verdant green forests.
It's very clean. Air. It's not it's just like a swamp.
Not leaning, Zach. It's reclining.
It's so beautiful where you can go looking at the mountain way further above the clouds. Literally, you're worried about going up there in the rain. Because the light looks good. I think I'm gonna rent a resort. I can't wait. So tomorrow.
God, I just love to sit on the bench and have a hot cup of tea and just sit and enjoy.
Yeah.
Full day tomorrow, starting at 6 p.m.
Yeah. Give me a
8
second.
a.m. for us. And then next week, live stream.
I like muted for just a minute because I was talking to my roommate. But
I'm visit Chiang Mai. It's beautiful. We are enjoying this.
I am just having such a great time listening to, watching all the things that are happening on their Thailand stream. It's just so cool. It really is just freaking awesome.
So this is definitely positioned to see a long ways away.
Don't.
Way up the mountain. So that must be not real. Vacation. Just sit here like this.
And what I am doing right now is just kind of cleaning up some of these small curves. And then with this one over here, I'm going to split this into two parts. One of them is going to be like this, and then the other one is going to be the thing on top of it. That's almost perfect, just like that. That's almost exactly what I want. So I'm just going to leave that. I'm just going to let that be, and add another shape. Yes.
Birds.
Like that.
So much. I'm a happy place. This part is knowing how.
Oh, excuse me.
This landscaping down there looks really interesting. You know, if you guys find things to do in Chiang Mai online and you want us to do it, let us know. There's a good chance we'll just go do it. Like, I'm still trying to find some time to that noodles place that someone recommended. Nice. So that gives up the CEO job to live in Thailand? Not yet. Alright. So, I should probably take this time to say hello to all the front page viewers who just came in. Hi, I'm Zach. Cool. Now that we're acquainted, I'm on my honeymoon here with my new wife, Naga. We got married last week on Twitch, and now we're honeymooning on Twitch, and it's been just hands down the coolest experience of my life. We got to share it with everybody on Twitch. I would like to remind everyone, if you are a viewer coming in, and this is your first time here, that we are a very respectful community. We are traveling as respectful travelers. If you make any comments derogative about the culture that we are currently visiting, or about anyone you see on the camera that our camera happens to see, these are people who graciously are allowing us to walk around with the camera at a very sacred site. You will be banned. Without warning. This is your warning. If you come in after I say this, tough shit. I don't care. You will be respectful if you're going to hang out here, and you'll learn a lot of things. We have people with us. My wife is born in Thailand, so she can answer a lot of questions. I'm a noob. I know nothing. That's why we came here. I wanted to learn more about where my wife's from, learn more about her, how she was raised, the principles. I myself am not Buddhist, so I'm going to be doing my best to try to be respectful without crossing the line of being an ignorant tourist. Sometimes I might by mistake, and then I'll apologize and move on from there. Get on the by rain soon. Look, you can see this rain making its way across the valley. Just watching it get closer every time I turn around. Oh boy! I got my waterproof bag on now. So,
I can smell a stone outside, like hardcore.
That the half of the backpack is the gun runs design, and then the other half is stuff that I did myself and added on to make it better for this trip. Since I know a lot of people ask, I'll just go ahead and tell you, we are using a bonding device with 2 different cards from AIS Data, which is a 4G company here in Thailand. It's Asia, I think all of Asia coverage, and it's great. We've got great coverage for most of this trip. Every once in a while we lose it as expected. For the most part, we've done some cool stuff. We got to have it in the middle of the jungle with elephants yesterday, so I call it a pretty big win. We're using 2 cards bonded together to make a better, more reliable signal, sitting to a server in Los Angeles where we're collecting that footage, putting our overlay on it that I can kind of control from my phone and update on the go, and then outputting to Twitch. So if we lose signal, it will switch to a video of clips from Malik and I's wedding, and then when I get signal again, I'll switch it back. And if people subscribe to all that kind of stuff, I'll get text messages on my phone, so I don't miss it. I want to make sure, so like Analar, thank you for subscribing, I appreciate it. I want to make sure I don't miss you guys' alerts. Yeah. And let's see, chat room, if you guys have any questions, I can go find Malika and she can start answering them for you. I think she was praying to Buddha and I didn't want to interrupt and be rude. Have we had any crazy good pad thai yet? Yeah. Better than that though, we had some northern style noodles last night for under $1. A whole bowl of noodles for under $1. Yeah, that was really good. First we went to a really touristy night bazaar. Didn't like it. Why we left. And then we went to one recommended by a tuk-tuk driver. And we bought $1 bowl of noodles. It was great. Yes, it is live, the best 2833. Live from the other side of the world. Yeah, and yesterday we sponsored 2 elephants, thanks to you guys in the chat. We paid for 2 elephants for a year, which is really cool. All right. You got your fortune? What was your fortune? Or is it I didn't get my fortune. I don't want to. Okay, so here's an honest question. I get really worried about being disrespectful since I'm not Buddhist. I'm nothing. I'm nothing. I believe in nothing. But I don't want to be disrespectful. So if I'm getting like a fortune from a monk.
It's not no. It's just like rolling dice. Yes.
Okay, alright.
It's nothing it's like one step up from fortune. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Cool.
You don't have to be forward
Okay.
in that, but maybe you should listen to something, right? So maybe learn something.
Well, let's do it. Let's get a fortune. So
Also, the English translation is really bad, so you're gonna be really confused.
okay, well here, I'm gonna give you the chat because we have a lot of new people watching that might have questions for you. What's the name of this one? Yeah, I've been watching this rain across the valley get closer and closer to us for the last 10 minutes. Yeah. Oh wow, the rain is just... Yes, yes. Yep, got it. Alright. And everybody in or just you guys for now? Okay, and 3... Yeah, I want to get... No, gotta get a good view. 3, 2, 1. I feel like we can get a better view. Here, yeah, get in there. Let's get a better view. Oh, okay. Okay, and 3, 2, hold on, I'm getting work text. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Alright, we got the guy flexing in the background too. Perfect. Perfect.
Whoa.
Okay.
He does that.
Oh, I got a shirt white? Alright, sorry. I made you guys shirt white. Apologies. Sorry. It's been raining a lot on this trip. Alright. Okay, so
Yeah, we've got a skunk outside. I can smell
No,
it.
not Malika's
It's crazy.
mom. It's Malika's cousin. So the one who's speaking English, she lives in Florida, and she's the sister of the one who picked us up from the airport 2 days ago. So they just got in last night. It's funny because her husband, also Thai, speaks better English than Thai, and they have 2 daughters.
Actually, just gonna
with
check.
them who
We're
are,
still
you know,
going. Yep, we're still going.
US citizens. They're born in
Cool.
America.
No drop frames.
They're, I think, like 12 and 10, and they've got that look of like, what am I doing here? This sucks. And we had lunch with them, and we were eating papaya salad that was really good, and they kept complaining, saying they wanted pizza. I just think it's funny. It's great. They're just kids. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's getting ready for us. Look at this stuff out here. Time to leave a fortune? Fortune time? Does Charlie gotta get a fortune too? No.
It's mom. It's my grandpa's sister.
Okay. Ready? 3, 2, got it. Okay.
My favorite was Street Fighter.
Oh yeah, you guys used to play Street Fighter together.
5 is like high school.
Alright.
He's the only one that he was still the only one to compete for me. And my older brother's just like, wait, okay.
So, Malika said maybe I should ask you some questions about the tattoo stuff later. Because you've got tattoos.
Yeah, I
But
got one.
But it's not a religious tattoo? Cool. Because I was gonna get a tattoo, but I'm pretty ignorant to a lot of the practices. And then I was showing her like, oh, I wanted to get this. And she's like, you can't do that because that's only for monks. And and it's like got a lot of meaning behind it. And I don't want to be one of those tourists, you know. So, but do you know anything about that stuff?
Not really. Probably sure my wife knows.
Yeah.
Your uncle, my grandfather, he had a lot. Because he was a monk for a while, and also Muay Thai fighter. He made those tattoos for him.
Right.
I believe.
Well,
What do you have in mind?
Well, I was hoping to get some sort of graphical representation of her name since she just got married.
My name is Jasmine, so it could be a flower.
Okay. Want me to get somewhere like really obnoxious, like right on my neck, or?
Oh, a tattoo. Neck tattoo.
All right, come on, let's get my fortune. All right. All right. So Malika's gonna take a Muay Thai class on Saturday. Everybody's rushing to get out of here because the rain's coming. Okay, get my fortune. I'm gonna put you guys on my shoulder. 1 sec. Okay. Shoot it off.
You're probably hearing hyper RPG right
Okay. All right. I'll take the Hello Kitty one. All right. So what do I do?
Here goes.
Okay. So I take it out.
Yeah. What number on there?
It's number 23.
My lucky number.
Okay, so now I go look at a poster. All right. Number 23. Hold on 1 sec. Alright, what's my,
My cousin, she's
okay. My fortune?
it's not, it's like fortune, but it's not.
Tomorrow, I will do something important in my life, basically.
Well, mine is a lucky one, and mine is more secret.
Okay. So we're gonna ask for cousin to explain. Get up, Randy. What are we doing? You're gonna take us forward. Alright, well, let me see it. What do you got? Okay. I was 23, not 22.
No, mine's 22.
Oh, where's mine? Okay, 23. I can't read that. That's English too. Okay, we're on that. Come. Okay. I don't remember what that means. Okay. Chat room, can you transcribe that? Can you, okay, right. Probably. Dude. Where are we? Oh, 13 point. What do we do next? I guess we're just gonna go check that out. Oh, they couldn't even see because there was a glare. Yeah, tomorrow we're gonna start IRL at 6 p.m. With a tour of the Daughter Devi and its very shining video game abandoned city glory. It was so weird going around this morning. It was super eerie. Do people in Thailand watch E3? I know Malika and I at breakfast this morning were watching trailers over breakfast. There's two nerds in Thailand watching trailers. We were going to do a trailer reaction to Ghost in one of the temples, but then I realized I didn't have an SD card reader with me. Whoops. Whoops. What are the rains like? It's mainly just been until Saturday? Yeah, Saturday. Nice. But we're only in Chiang Mai. We leave tomorrow. Chiang Mai. We'll spend 2 days up in Chiang Mai, and then we're going to take a plane back to Bangkok for 1 day and spend a night in Chinatown, Bangkok. I feel like it's going to take a multi-class in Bangkok. Oh yeah? Gotcha. What other trailers of course? We're Spider-Man and other ideas, and I was freaking out. Oh, she's reading my future. Yes, I don't get the notes. Can you read? She can't either. Come on.
You guys have right now. So they say you will if you have if you go to the school find anything and you have and if you have sick anything
nice. Is that it?
No, I'm afraid. Really?
Yeah, it's like Debbie. We had like a free upgrade.
So you can be lucky. Okay. Your trip is gonna give you luck to take with you.
Okay, to take with us.
And like a good meal.
Okay.
You can deal with something.
A deal.
A deal. And a business. Yeah. In a business.
Right.
And you're gonna get a lucky night with the lucky was so both of you, fine. Okay. This is the way you need to hear it. You can listen to the sound.
It's a good time. So we gotta go buy some lottery tickets.
Someone just wanted. Did you try?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna call some business contacts. Matt just said he's hanging out with Bandai, so I'm gonna like text him back and be like, "Hey man, I'm lucky right now. Go ahead and push those deals through." Matt texts me while we're live on there. Hey man, bought off in the Bandai. So it's gonna be so loud. Watch your ears, headphones. That hurt my brain. Pretty sure that did. Picture? Oh, it's beautiful. Guys, that's not in violation of TOS, no matter how many times you tell us in the chat it is. No. Right here comes the rain. Here comes the distance.
I'm coming in the distance. Sorry.
Snack time? Yeah, we've got 4 more days left. 4 full days left in Thailand. Some crazy trips. We thoroughly enjoyed it. Yesterday was one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life. If you guys are a sub, you can go back and watch. We have lots of clips that people can share. But we did a tour with the elephants in the sanctuary. Kind of felt like we were in Jurassic Park. Happy anniversary Jurassic Park today, by the way.
Jurassic Park anniversary today.
Does anyone pay attention to you folks? Yeah, they don't know live. We do. I got my phone out. Let's check it there. I'm gonna watch where I'm walking.
That's what you wanted to see. You didn't really want to see all the rest of that. So cool. So very, very, very cool.
Burmese anytime? Is there a specific reason why they come to this one?
It's close to Burma.
Oh, okay. Just because it's on the northern border? Got it. The recap stream? Yeah, recap stream would be cool. Maybe we can do that once we land. I know we're going to be in Osaka for 12 hours. I don't like that. The Naga? Here, I want to show these off. Pretty cool.
But you have to see this. This is exactly what I was talking about. If you guys are watching me, you have to jump to Hyper RPG and just look at what they're showing you right now. It's just freaking awesome. Wow. Whoa.
Sorry, probably got water on there. It's raining again. I'm water. Watch your eyes. Things picking up too. Cool. I don't know where we're headed now. I'm along for the ride today. I said I know today we're doing a special thing where we'll pay for a taxi and go to new cafes because we found out that in Shanghai there are more cafes than 7-Elevens. Whereas in Bangkok there's so many 7-Elevens, it was insane. The cafes are a big thing, getting this like fresh coffee. Try some. shit. Had so much good food while I've been in Thailand. Food has been unreal. Tomato tickets. Dried fruit. Nothing here has dairy in it except taffy. I don't understand. Milk taffy. Nothing else in the country has friggin' dairy. I've been able to eat everything, but not taffy. She'll kind of lottery tickets. Ooh, yeah, they're getting lottery tickets right now. And I'm okay. Lottery, like country that's like where our dollar. I don't know. I feel weird about it. Give it to charity.
$1,000, you wouldn't be like, yeah.
Give it to charity, honestly. Yeah, give it to your family or charity. But I feel like it'd be weird as an American to like travel to a country where your dollar is really strong and then win the lottery over there. That's kind of like the ultimate dick move.
I was simple. They said I'm lucky.
Yeah, we're both lucky. Yeah, yeah. Today will be unlucky.
Yeah, sometimes I don't want to do it because nothing is better than bad. Right? It's less bad and more like something made it happen. You know, make sure you put extra hard.
Oh, it'll be that, yeah, yeah.
That kind of stuff.
You sure they don't say anything along the lines of like, the only way you'll get lucky again is if you try to use as much luck as possible. Go buy some lottery tickets out front.
Also, you know, you saw the people who pray just 3.
Yeah.
They ask you for something.
Yeah.
The ones that pray flowers. I
Yes.
saw a lot of flowers today.
There were a lot of flowers.
Maybe keep going with us so you can have somebody American to talk to.
Oh, okay. You just gonna volunteer. They're gonna stick us together apparently. Hey, thank you, Khalifa. Subscribe. Thank you. Let's go learn some more stuff. Alright. Alright. She said I have to talk to you, Charlie, because you're interesting. No pressure.
I love them so much. She says we have to talk because you're interesting. No pressure.
Alright, Charlie. You're 5. So when she said elementary school, she meant you spent 1 year probably in school here. So you obviously have you have extreme vast knowledge of culture and life here.
Yeah. Well, she's talking about
So are you still practicing Christian? Do you see any conflicts? Or like, so just tell me, you know, I'm not Christian or Buddhist, but I also don't be disrespectful here. So, you know, when you're getting married, you know, obviously it's part of the ceremony, right? But at the same time, it's like, no, it's not praying, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, exactly. The parents like, okay, follow the motions, and make sure, because it's tradition. Yeah.
Buddha and a scripture and your character. Step 3, ask for speak your name and ask the thing. And if you get the thing, step 4, come back and offer the chapter 1. Like it was like instruction.
So, in that ceremony, when there was tradition, like, I'm in a wedding ceremony, I would call it tradition, but here, I feel weird about going up and not writing, because then it feels like I'm just putting on a show. If you
It's not, I'm just saying that it's just you're respecting your husband.
yeah. So you think it's still it's more respectful to do it than to not?
Well, if you don't have any kind of
I suppose. Thank you.
they would understand.
Gotcha. Understand. And that's why I'm asking, because I want to make sure I'm not disrespecting any culture in any way, but not knowing what is the right way to go in that situation. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk on the chat saying.
As long as you're not.
Boom! Inception. You've been inceptified.
But heads up, chat room, we're probably going to lose signal going down this mountain. It'll get really rocky and bad reception for a little bit, but it will come back. Our audio will probably sound good, but on the way up, we lost some reception going around this mountain. Let's see. But if you guys have questions for Charlie, Charlie's game. Malika's first game. For those that don't know, Malika is a game designer. She makes games for a living. So you might have contributed to something to that. She's 5. So she would win. So what, at that age, you're in high school, and the 5-year-old comes around and kicks your butt and walks away. Yeah, that's the worst. Everyone thinks that. Who's your favorite Street Fighter? Kyle? Oh, I'm Dead Saints fan. I never asked the question about the mural. You're right. I'm sorry, there's a lot of things going on. It's easy to forget. Okay, Malika. There was a mural up there at the temple that had a woman riding a dragon. Who is the woman? Yeah, maybe you're up to it.
Okay, so I might stop here because there are 1, 2, 3 elements that look very similar that I'll probably do all in one shot. And then the stuff that's on the center and that big flourishy thing up top, which I want to have it look a lot like the ones below it. So I think I feel like I need to do that all at once. Otherwise, I think everything else I've got worked out. I think all those other shapes have been created.
You have the internet, we know, so you will probably know if I answered everything. Which, that was one of the things I've been noticing. I was still thinking when we got out of here. I don't know if you've observed this, I'm going to do back. As a technology, plug-in America, typically as CS2. Studied CS2. I typically will use my phone for spreadsheet for a place to go. I'll get time to
yeah, I feel like I've got all the shapes that I need, except for those very ornate elements in the Naga heads. Oh no, we lost them. Yep, we lost them. Yeah, so I'm going to shut down for right now. I'm saving one more time just because I flipped things a little bit. Boom! Now you've been inceptioned and everything is perfect. I will see you all later. And have a great night. Watch Hyper RPG. Subscribe to them. And have a great night.